Well, today we're gonna find out what exactly it actually is. Everyone keeps fucking talking about it, so let's see. We're gonna be reacting to the video made by Good Work. I absolutely love this channel. This guy is classic and funny as hell.
Put it inside me. That's what Silicon Valley is saying about something called peptides. These ostensibly magic drugs aren't exactly legal and are often sourced from unregulated factories in China, but that hasn't stopped them from exploding in popularity amongst in-the-know techies and corporate bigwigs, with promises that they can do things like burn our fat, tan our skin, focus our brains, improve our sleep, and horny our libidos. And it's promises like these that are just now inspiring normies to start poking themselves with the magic juice. Yet one question remains. What even is this stuff? And is this all gonna end really bad? Okay, that was two questions, but... Simply put, peptides are chains of amino acids that help your body perform various functions, from healing a muscle tear, growing skin cells, or producing an entire above-ground pool's worth of testosterone, as mine's been known to do. There are some famous peptides you've probably heard of, like insulin and oxytocin. Peptides like these are created inside of the
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I thought peptides was just to like testosterone, just to like boost like steads, you know what I mean? Just a stead head.
body using proteins that we consume through food. But the things that we'll be talking about today are peptides that are created synthetically in a lab and are then injected straight into your bod with a needle. You might be familiar with glucagon-like peptide 1 or GLP-1. Drugs like Ozempic or Wegovy inject a version of GLP-1 into your body, which helps you lose weight. These shots are legal and have, quite frankly, been everywhere the last few years, but their popularity has spurred a hunt to find new injectable peptide drugs that might also yield other health benefits, which is how we've reached the more colloquial umbrella term of peptides, referring to stuff like GLP-1s, but also dozens of different experimental and off-label shots with names that, when spoken, make you sound like a total droid.
I'm on Retta, Tesamorelin, and then NAD nasal.
IGF-1, LR3, BBC, TB500,
EPC-1.
Do people not get scared when they're like, when they're taking multiple things, bro? I get scared at just the fact that I might have to take medicine sometimes. I literally don't even do ibuprofen, paracetamol, aspirin. I do none of these shits, bro. I can't believe people are willingly taking like multiple amounts of chemicals at once, bro.
157,
GLP-3,
GHKCU,
GHK,
TB500, retatrutide,
Melanotan 1,
CJC,
You sound like a man.
BBC 157,
GLP-1, N-acetylsaline, GHKCU, BBC 157, DSIP, MOTC,
BBC?
Tesamorelin, IGF-1L3, epithalin, thymosin alpha-1, ARA-29, virilantide, PT-141 oxytocin.
What? Since these
Literally, what? Bro, do you not feel like a cancer patient if you're willingly going on this many steroids and peptides, whatever the fuck you call it?
shots are unregulated and understudied, not a ton is scientifically known about what peptides will do to your body. Yet peptide takers hope that stuff like BPC 157 will repair their muscles, GHKCU will reduce their wrinkles.
Bro, iron, zinc, magnesium, and go to the sauna, steam room. There's so many better ways for muscle recovery. What the fuck? Why would you ever? I'm so happy that I'm just anti like taking anything, bro.
Dihexia will help them focus more, ipamorelin will help them sleep better, and Slytherin will help them diabolically scheme against the boy who lived. Sometimes these peptides are sold individually, but they can also be combined to create so-called stacks, or groups of peptides taken at the same time to get different effects. Many pep pushers that corner you in the gym shower will talk about their own unique stack, although certain ones come with fun nicknames like the Wolverine or Glow Stacks.
There's such a broad category of things being sold as peptides that it's hard to really paint with a broad brush, because on the one hand, the GLPs, those are safe. People have been taking those for, decades now. So we're currently in the early adopter phase. Just as we've been with any other kind of like new development where there's the first crazy guy to get a car in the late 19th century. And to be clear, like there are certainly
Yeah, but he didn't have to inject anything to his body.
are risks that are, because a lot of these things haven't been studied at all really in a clinical setting.
So we don't know necessarily if the people taking peptides now are like the first crazy guy to ride a car, as you said, or like the first guy to give their baby opium, essentially.
We don't know that, no.
Ezra Marcus is a reporter with glasses who wrote a piece about his own experience uncovering the world of peptides before then deciding to put them inside of himself.
I wanted to go through the kind of
This guy's
like
so gay.
process that any consumer of this stuff would go through. So I went through two different routes. The first was I went to a above board regulated, to some extent, med spa, and I said, I'm a reporter, I'm interested in peptides, like what do you got for me? They basically were like, well, we have this thing called NAD for you. The med spas generally are limited to what they can legally obtain. Then I was like, well, let me go through the sort of other channel that people are, you know, engaging in with this stuff, which is what you're seeing more from your kind of teenage looks maxers. You know, what I did was I went on Reddit, on the peptides Reddit channel, and I just started DMing people like, hey, you know, I want to talk to you about peptides. And some guy was like, cool, join my Discord. And there was a representative from a Chinese factory manufacturer
so it does
in
come
the
from
Discord
China.
who would sort of handle all their orders and claim to be testing the samples, and it was all just sort of, she was just selling directly to these people. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just buy the cheapest amount of retatrutide that they sold, which was 10 5-milligram vials for like 150 bucks. Sent her Bitcoin, and 2 weeks later, it showed up on my doorstep. Labeled, of course, for research purposes only.
Now, the vast majority of peptides that are being hawked on the talk are not federally regulated and have been listed by the FDA as maybe being harmful, which is why you'll often hear influencer types referring to them online as peppers to bypass social media censorship. Pretty slick stuff. It's also why many of the peptides that you'll see available for online purchase are listed as being for research purposes and come with vague 5-star reviews from unnamed sources. Now, all this is to say that you can't go out there and just cop peptides willy-nilly. Instead, you gotta do it the 21st century American way. Shady supply chains via Chinese plug.
One of those vials sold through the kind of more public-facing middlemen would probably cost like 200 bucks. And each one was costing me like, you know, $15. That's how cheap this stuff is to manufacture in China. And there's so much money there are probably billions of dollars being made on just flipping this stuff to American consumers.
I sort of came to peptides through the San Francisco tech culture beat more so. I've been convinced both over the course of reporting and then also publishing the piece and seeing it do quite well. I think that 2026 is going to be the year of what I call consumer biotech.
Well, would you look at that? It's Jasmine's son, an independent reporter based in the metropolitan charging port for virgins known as San Francisco. Jasmine recently wrote a piece for the New York Times about how peptides from China were taking Silicon Valley by storm, given their popularity amongst biohackers and people who like getting attention for saying things like BPC 3.14159.
In San Francisco, the internet is in fact real life, so peptides first showed up as a viral internet meme that was going around Twitter/X starting about June or July of last year, where I started hearing that everybody has a Chinese peptide dealer now. And it sort of became one of the little symbols of San Francisco, along with, you know, coding agents and Waymos and everything else, that everyone started talking about Chinese peptides. People would compare it even to trying a new browser or trying a new app. Like, they are the ones who want to be beta testing, they want to be early adopting. And like, yeah, sometimes you're going to have some bugs if you do that, but like, how are you going to be on the frontier? How are you going to get the benefits and the edge that nobody else is unless you are also willing to accept those risks?
I have a whole peptide drawer in my fridge. I call it the girl dinner drawer.
Right. Okay. By touching these, am I going to explode?
No.
Or what is
safe.
this? What do we have here?
So I brought you retatrutide.
This is all retatrutide.
This is all retatrutide.
Tori Pastori rhymes and is the founder of a marketing consultancy called Soup. Last year, she hosted a peptide-themed rave in San Francisco, which I would have attended had I not been preoccupied with my steroid quinceañera. Tori says that she's been taking peptides for about the last year and a half.
I really like hanging out online and seeing what the people in like weird niche communities get up to and what they get excited about. I got engaged and was really wildly overweight. I was really, really sick. I had a lot of things wrong with me. And I went to the doctor, and this was right when all of the Ozempic and everything was first hitting the scene, and everyone was like, this is amazing. And I told my doctor, I was like, I just don't want to hate myself in my wedding pictures. I know I have a lot of weight to lose, like, can we try this? And she said, yeah, no problem. Prescribed it for me. And then I went to the pharmacy to go pick it up. And because my BMI was 34.7 and not 35, the pharmacy told me that my insurance wouldn't cover it and it was going to be $1,000 a month. And I said, that's insane. So I called
America
my
for
friend,
you.
and instead of going through the pharmacy and just doing it that way, he'd started contacting like all these labs in China and being like, how do I get this over here? How do I make these things myself? How do I give people access to this? So he started using himself as a kind of as a lab rat. I trusted him. I was like, you know what, if nobody else, then, you know, at least he's doing it on himself first. First peptide shot. I had side effects that I would say 99% of people do not have, and it was still worth it to me. But for that first probably 2 or 3 months, I barely ate anything. Like I was throwing up every day. I pooped my pants twice in one weekend in public.
But haven't we
Okay,
all?
I don't know
But
how
haven't we all? Also,
Bro, if you're pooing your pants in public, I don't know how you carried on taking that shit, bro. So if I'm on the train and I go, I'm not taking that shit anymore,
answer
bro.
your other question of what other peptides have I taken, I did a round of copper peptides.
Copper? Like what the penny's made of?
Yeah.
What is it?
You need that too. It's actually, the copper ones are really crazy. I'll bring you some next time. They're purple. They look like a video game item.
What does that do to you?
It's really good for your hair and for your nails and your skin, and a lot of the girls are taking them now.
But you're not taking that anymore.
No, I did a month of that.
And why'd you stop?
There's such a thing as copper toxicity, and you don't want to do that full time. It's not one that you should just do all the time.
Now, folks, I imagine that the more you hear about peptides and injections, the more wary of them you become. I get it. I'm a guy who likes to keep his blood clean in case anyone needs to drink it. But those who are more bullish on peptides say that the market for these things already goes well beyond the Silicon Valley biohacking types who are cool experimenting with Chinese Sigma heroin.
I used to get sick maybe like 4 or 5 times a year. I work hard, I don't sleep enough, I push my body. Now if I'm about to get sick, I inject thymosin alpha-1 and I don't get sick.
Max Macchioni is the co-founder of the health startup Superpower. With Superpower, Max believes that he's creating the first in the next generation of pharma companies, something he's calling Pharma 2.0, and he sees peptides as potentially a major part of that future.
Peptides are going to be, I think, a $1 trillion category. Injections are now a viable form of drug delivery, which opens up the kind of the drug purview to include other injectable peptides. And I think over the coming years, we're going to see many GLP-1-like drugs, but for everything else, come to market. I think many people see these broadly as these kind of fringe compounds. And the reality is most things that are new start kind of fringe and then slowly become mainstream, right? I often recall that aphorism of the future is already here, but not evenly distributed. And I think many of the smartest people I know, many of the smartest biologists I know and doctors I know are using peptides, are familiar with peptides. Now, there are risks. I don't recommend people blindly take peptides. I certainly don't recommend they order them from research use only sites online. I think if you have the foundations of health in check,
Doesn't even
that should
sound
be
like you're
the
backing it,
default
bro.
for everyone. That's what men used to be like, and now the modern world makes that really hard because we're surrounded by a lot of things that impact our sex hormones and our androgen system in a negative, endocrine system in a negative way.
Well, I don't know anything about that. Personally, I'm fucking constantly. But I do have a sympathetic ear, Max, and it certainly sucks to hear about all these things you and these sexless men are going through. My advice? Take a woman out to a nice jazz dinner. Pooh Bell's on 14th, that's a good spot. Once you go in there, ask for Jason. He'll show you the right table. And around 8:30, when it gets nice and dark, and Raoul starts tickling the ivories for his first solo of the night, I want you to look into her eyes and pull back a strand of her chestnut hair. Ask her about the last man to break her heart. Ask her what you can do to mend it. And then, when the timing is right, I want you to put out a cigarette into that cheesecake she ordered and give her a kiss. Not one that says I want you, but one that says I need you. You need me. We need us. Tonight, now, and forever. And if none of that works, just maybe try some peptides.
Yeah, well, I couldn't be more against this BS.
Oh, okay. Who's this fun sucker? Eric Topol is a cardiologist and director of the Scripps Research Translational Institute. He's also the author of multiple New York Times bestsellers, as well as the Ground Truths newsletter, where he covers various topics in the medical field, including his skepticism about peptides.
I'd love to see any of these peptides proven to be beneficial. If we find something that helps patients and people, I'm all for it. There are no trials that are being done. It's just all done through word of mouth and promotion and longevity clinics and that kind of stuff. When we inject a drug in our body, we should know that it's safe.
I'm sorry to say, but every single example of people that were taking peptides then, there was like a crazy look in some of their eyes, you know. I'm not gonna lie, like look at the eyes, bro. Especially the girl.
All done
The
through
girl,
word of
oh my
mouth
god,
and
hold up.
promotion.
I don't know.
And longevity clinics.
I don't know,
And
I thought-
that kind
I
of
thought it was
stuff.
something in
When
the
we
eyes, something a bit
inject a
devilish.
drug in our body, we should know
Never
that
mind.
it's safe, that it is what it says it is, and it's effective. That only can be done through clinical trials. Anything short of that is not science. It's just anecdotes. It's just bro science or whatever you want to call it. It's not the real deal. You don't know whether you're injecting yourself with a placebo would give you the same sense of whatever it is that you're wanting to feel. There's a lot of money here. I don't know many peptides that are less than a couple $100 a shot. When you put up a few $100s for something each time every month you go get it, talk about confirmation bias. And I don't care about the pushback. I'm just telling the truth. I'm giving the facts.
Now, folks, when Instagram told me to get on Threads, I said, fuck that shit. But in an age of rising tech skepticism, peptides seem to be a rare moment of a Silicon Valley trend bleeding out into the general public.
Hearing the range of people for whom this is very appealing made me think that, like, yeah, this is going to be a huge thing. I think people are basically very willing to spend their own money in order to get hotter, to get healthier, and especially with decreasing amounts of trust and frustration with the American medical establishment, people are, in a relative sense, thinking like, well, why not sort of trust this influencer in this alternate route instead?
Are you worried about possible side effects?
Like pooping my pants again?
Sure.
Well, so people, even if this took 5 years off my life at the end of my life, it would be worth it for what it's done for me.
Indeed, peptides seem to be a product that speak to our time like no other. An easy-to-use drug that's some.
Do you know what my number one thing that I hate, but especially when it comes to fitness and health and people who are really fat and big and then use drugs to like get rid of the weight? Listen, look, I get it. In her example, she needed to lose weight like that, which is not realistic. But who put you in that position? Yourself. Basically, what I'm trying to get at is what I hate about this is anyone who tries drugs before going to the gym. Did you actually try the gym? Did you actually try and go to the gym? Did you actually try the health and fitness route? Because I bet you fucking didn't. Because you wouldn't be doing this, trust me. The amount of personal reward you feel when you actually surpass or reach your fitness goals, it's the best feeling ever. It's better than sex. It's a good feeling, trust me, it's a good feeling.
Sometimes a really fun shade of purple and forgoes government approval, thus leaving the gamble of our health up to us, the people. Those of us inundated every day with images of seemingly regular citizens with perfect hair, perfect skin, and somehow 8 different abs on their stomach despite having a desk job at Salesforce. The folks who look at these substances weigh the pros and cons and still have the risk-taking appetite to give a Discord moderator a few Bitcoin to cop an order from China, wait a week for delivery, swirl up some dust in a vial of water, take out a needle, look in the mirror and say, hey, guess it's worth a shot. For good work, I'm Dan Toomey.
Another great video. So there you go, guys. That's what peptide is. And I'm not going to lie, still don't fucking know what it is. I mean, but this is the thing, like, I'm not even surprised that after watching a nearly 20-minute video, I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit high, maybe, I do understand, I grasp it a little bit more from this video, but what I'm trying to say is, like, I'm not surprised that in this day and age, that even after nearly watching a 20-minute video, I still don't actually fully understand what it is, because that's what this world has come to nowadays. Like, look at the memes that are out there. Like, I don't even understand memes nowadays, bros. But yeah, like anything in this world, it's the influencers, it's the short route, it's the quick route that everyone wants to grasp to, and everyone wants to, you know, everyone wants to take the short route to become an influencer, to making money. So I'm not surprised that peptides are a huge thing that's trending at the moment. But yeah, whenever I see people taking these drugs like Ozempic and blah blah blah, it really is sad to me that people didn't at least give the gym a go. And even when you speak to these people and they're like, "Oh no, I gave it a go. Trust me, that you didn't give it a proper go. You didn't give it a go the same way how you would if you knew that, you could do A, B, C to get a pay rise at your job. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, it is what it is, guys. Peptides is just another grift. So yeah, take care of yourself.